All right, everybody, welcome again to another episode of the ShopNotes Podcast. Today is episode number 92. We're closing in on 100. John, Logan, me, we're all here doing our podcast thing. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about dream woodworking tools, dream projects, and dream materials. It's the podcast of your dreams. Just want to mention that today's episode is brought to you by Shaper Tools. They're the makers of the Shaper Origin, the handheld CNC router that brings digital precision to the craft of woodworking. Tackle joinery, cabinetry, hardware installation, and more with both speed and precision. Try it risk-free in your shop for 30 days. Visit shapertools.com to learn more.
So what about like dream shop buddies? Can we do that one too? Or shop buddy of your dreams?
Shop buddy of your dreams.
That starts to get a little weird. I feel like all the kids have to stop listening now.
Yeah. I was about to break out into singing Mr. Sandman.
Bring me a dream.
But I won't.
Yep. Speaking of Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, you know what? I wish I hate cutting out like plywood parts. I wish they had a machine that you could just like plug in like the size and shape of your parts and just like cuts them all out.
Like a computer numerically controlled machine.
Yeah,
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Something like that. Why doesn't somebody invent that? You know, it's like
Maybe like a
especially,
CAC,
complex
like
parts.
alphabetically controlled.
Ooh.
I mean, because we're using the XYZ axis. Those are letters. They
Right.
have nothing to do with numbers.
Or joystick.
Yeah.
Like freewheeling CNC.
Yeah. Or handheld
Yep.
Yep.
CNC.
Ooh, Shaper, you guys should get on that.
Yeah.
Yep. That'd be awesome.
I want somebody to hack the Woodsmith CNC plan so that you can use vintage Nintendo controllers on it.
Atari controllers.
Have like two of them and you can compete. You know.
It would be like a
CNC
router
races.
Etch-a-Sketch. That's awesome.
Yes. Yeah. These are all good ideas. There's really no
Are
bad
they?
ideas.
Yep. It's a brainstorm here.
Yeah.
There's no wrong answers.
Oh man.
Okay, Logan, you had suggested a tool or a topic for today on dream woodworking tools that don't exist. And I have one in the sense that it sort of exists, but not really.
Okay. And what is it? Because I need time to consider one of my own.
Right. Okay. So I'm going to stretch mine out here. So about a year ago, maybe, Chris Fitch did a router mortising machine for Woodsmith. Super cool. Is a horizontal slot mortiser, because we've done other like plunging type mortising machines using a router. This one was horizontal, which made it a lot easier to do end mortises, like for loose tenon joinery. What I would like, and you guys know this because I have my prototype sitting in the editor's area of the shop, is I've been working on a smaller scale version of that. And I need to go to version 2.0. But I would like to see a simple, small slot mortiser that doesn't use a router.
Okay.
And you're going to say to yourself, like the Panto router, or what's the other one? Multi-router.
Yep.
See, I get those, but those are both multi-bajillion-dollar tools.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, to a certain extent, have Swiss Army knifed themselves into confusion to a certain extent.
Yes.
And that's just a personal opinion. These are not the official opinions expressed by Woodsmith Magazine or Popular Woodworking, blah, blah, blah.
Or Active Interest Media.
Or Active Interest Media. You know, because there are standalone slot mortising machines, or, you know, built into like a combination machine where, like one of our old creative director, Ted Krylicek, had a think it was like a Roebland. It was like a jointer planer slot mortiser.
Table saw.
No, his was just a jointer
Oh,
planer.
his wasn't a table saw?
Yeah.
Oh.
No.
Okay.
But they used like old table saws had, like the Inca table saw had a slot mortiser built into the end of it. And, if you just had a simple motor or spindle that wasn't a screaming router universal motor, that it was designed primarily for mortising work. Like just that.
Okay.
Like, unitasker tools can do their job, and I'm normally opposed to unitaskers.
Yeah. My opinion on it. I like it to be multifunctional in my shop.
Right. And I get that, but
that being said, yeah, if I was doing a bunch of the same type of, like if I was strictly doing like furniture and that's what I was doing all day, that makes sense.
yeah.
So.
And it wouldn't have to be for, because like the big slot mortisers are set up so that they can easily do like entry doors and, large scale framework things. And I need something that's like the unholy offspring of one of those mortisers and the Festool Domino, but in a benchtop unit.
Okay.
Because I have a biscuit joiner and I love using it. And there is something to be said for being able to bring the tool to the workpiece on some stuff. But on the other hand, there's an advantage to a fixed tool that, everything is all set in terms of bit height, fence settings, whatever. You just put the piece in, clamp it down, route it. That makes it a little bit easier than bringing the tool to the workpiece.
Yeah.
Kind of like handheld router versus router table operations. There's a time and place for both. That was super rambly.
That's all right.
So for everybody who stuck with that,
say,
strong work.
Are you trying to topple me as the Ramble King?
We have a new personal record here.
So
mark the tape.
What I was thinking about, I was watching some stupid, I don't know what I was watching last night, but it was like they had a metal planer. Okay. Like, I don't know if you've seen those where basically there's a table that slides and you put a part on it and there's a little carbide cutter and every path it indexes, an eighth of an inch, and it's literally whacking off eighth-inch shavings of metal.
Like a surface grinder kind of.
Both cutter instead.
Yeah.
And in my infinite ridiculousness, I'm like, how sweet would that be to have something like that? This is a complete unitasker to pare down miters to like a precise degree.
Okay.
Put a part
like
in
a shooting board,
huh?
Like a shooting board,
like an automatic shooting board.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
And you like set it, and it just until it is down to the right size. Now this is coming from my impending humidor build that started today. But we've talked about it before. We hate miters. Miters are stupid, but that would make it easier. And you know what else I would like? I would like somebody to pick this up. Maybe Rich at Woodpeckers, if you guys are listening. There's two things. First one is probably more practical, and that is I would like somebody to pick up the design of the the Biesmeyer miter saw fence. We have one in our shop.
Yeah.
And I really like it. I wish I could buy a new one of them, and you can't.
Right.
So I would really like somebody to come up with it. And if anybody doesn't know, it's a steel framework that holds two laminate top, basically extension wings for the miter saw that have clamp-on stops.
And the clamp-on stops are super cool.
Oh, I love them. Yeah, they're not like the flip type stops that you see a lot of people make. These are they straddle the back edge of the fence and they hinge. So when you tighten them, or when you tighten the knob on it, it actually is. It's like a hand screw kind of. It's pushing the bottom side closer together, which clamps fence. I love them. And I use that miter saw. I say this without any shame. I use that miter saw to final trim parts to length all the freaking time. John's shaking his head no.
Shame.
Yeah, it's fine.
Shame on you.
It's fine. I do, though. And it works. Or, yeah, more than likely, I trim them to final length and then I shooting board them down. But then the second one that I was like, it would be really nice if they've made them in the past. It would be really nice if they made them new, because the ones I've seen are old and you can't buy parts for them. Is the power planers, where you shove a part through and there's a knife that literally it takes like a wispy plane shaving off the surface.
Yeah.
If anybody watches Ishitani Furniture on YouTube, he uses one all the freaking time, and it's just like it takes your planed surface, like your planer, power planer. It takes your planed surface to like a 240 grit surface just by taking a shaving off the top. So they're super cool. I've never actually seen one in person used, so I don't know how practical they are really to like set up and stuff.
Right.
I would think, and just the brief snippets that Ishitani shows, and Ishitani's from Japan. His videos are like woodworking ASMR. Like there's no talking, there's nothing. So he doesn't explain it at all, but it never seems like he adjusts anything. So I don't know if there's like a spring-loaded knife head that rests
that comes down
in a zero position and it just adjusts to whatever material you put in. I don't know, but it would be really cool to see somebody make a new one and see if there was actually a market for them. I would play with one, but
I think Makita used to make them.
Did they?
Yeah, or it's maybe one of those things where only made them in Japan.
Well, yeah, and that's what I was going to say. Somebody might make them outside of the U.S. and not cater to the U.S. market, but
I think I remember he's an author, Matt Kenny. We've had him on the show before. He used to have one, I believe. I don't know if he still does.
Gotcha.
I think it's called like a super surfacer or something like that. I can see that.
That's
cool.
Marukana Super Surfer, the Super Mecha. Ooh, hey, I think they do.
Which sounds like some kind of anime. Like it transforms from an airplane into a robot that planes your wood.
And then like the different planers combine into one super planer.
Yeah, Voltron style. Exactly.
Yeah, so it looks like they cater, Marukana caters, it looks like, to the French and English markets. They're made in Japan, though. They are made in Japan.
So it's not just a fever dream. It's real.
It is.
It's all real.
Oh, they look cool, though. John, is there any tools you think that the world needs that have not been released yet? They need to holding on to?
Yeah. Excuse me. Very simple, but why haven't they come up with square drill bits and router bits yet? I mean, so you can have square holes, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm going to write that one down.
So, okay. Have you? I'm sure, John.
On Facebook or something?
Yeah,
where have you seen that?
Yeah, where it's like it's some, I don't know. I want to say it's like some fake company selling. Look at this wonderful tool that makes square holes, and they're showing like a mortising machine bit.
Yeah,
and there's like 1,000 comments on it saying, "Oh my god, I need this for Christmas," or "Hey, I just ordered one, can't wait to get it." I'm like, "Oh, you guys are gonna be so disappointed."
But can you put a mortising bit in a hand drill? Have you ever tried that?
I haven't.
Sure,
because I bet you will now.
Yeah,
I bet you'll try it.
Oh,
make all kinds of square holes.
Yep.
So,
Is that why all of our mortising bits are dull in the shop?
Yeah, because I've been using them in the hand drill, just kind of like, I just need to like put a mallet on the back of the drill and just
See, it's like
a little extra force.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a tip because then you could just make like a little wooden handle to like an auxiliary T handle for the square part, and then you just drill and lean into it, and then.
Yep. See?
Oh no.
Things are happening here.
All right,
I
so
think we
that takes care of my slot
department.
mortising idea. I'm just going to cross that off.
Yeah.
I feel like the AIM legal department needs to be involved in this.
Or HR at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. At least have a disclaimer.
Yeah. I will say, I will agree with you on the Biesmeyer miter saw fence system. I do love that thing.
Yeah. I mean,
And-
I get it because it does require a lot of space. I mean, you could probably put it on like fold up wings, like the recent Woodsmith one.
Right.
But yeah. That seems right up Woodpecker's alley. I'm gonna
Seems
call
like
Rich, tell him, hey, I'm begging you to make this, please.
Yeah. I feel like we could even design it for them.
Yeah. There we go.
Co-branded. But yeah, I just love the stops on there because they have one that has, it's basically just for 90-degree work.
Yep.
And it has an adjustable, because you could basically lock the stop in place, but then have an adjustable section that you could loosen up and then
Yeah.
fine tune it. And then they also have one that has an angled head on it for miter work.
Yeah. And they're threaded, so you could fine tune it too.
Yeah.
I mean, they are pretty coarse threads, but yeah.
Yeah, but still, it's definitely possible. There's some room for improvement on there.
Yeah. So when did Biesmeyer stop manufacturing stuff? Do you remember?
They got bought out by Delta
Yeah.
X odd years ago.
Yep.
And then Delta swallowed their T-square table saw fence.
Mm-hmm.
And because I think for a while they, it was like Delta Biesmeyer
Yep.
was kind of co-branded in there. But then I don't know what happened with that, with some of their other accessories that they had. I mean, it feels like it just kind of devolved into the T-square fence, and then that was kind of the end of it. But
Yeah, it looks like 95 Delta bought them out.
okay.
And then I think in the mid to early 2000s, Disney bought them out.
Yeah, that seems right. Yeah.
So
John is currently editing the Wikipedia page.
Yeah. And then I think it was like AOL Time Warner Biesmeyer,
Yeah.
I think was in there.
they had the dial up
Yeah.
fence.
Right.
Yeah.
So
So, in light of me killing myself yesterday trying to split that log in half, Phil,
Yeah.
is that where your material of your dreams came from?
It kind of here's where that comes from is that, I built the workbench that I've been talking about since the beginning of this year using that white fur, which is it's magical stuff. Let's not kid ourselves. However, it is soft. I will totally grant all the people who think that it's like having styrofoam for a workbench, but I disagree with you on that because so far it's been working fantastic for me as a workbench material. And then, so to go from that end of the spectrum to doing those two sleds that I did for Video Edition and YouTube, where I used some hickory that you had sawn.
Yep.
Like the hickory was kind of fun stuff to work with, but it is definitely, it's like it's not even the same material. Like technically white fir and hickory are both wood.
Yes.
But it's
like saying sandstone and granite are the same thing.
right. Yeah.
right.
So it was fun to work with. It wasn't real fun to plane, which I guess just shows how terrible my sharpening skills are. And then the current issue of Fine Woodworking has an article by a Japanese craftsperson who designs and builds kind of in the Japanese carpentry, fun, ridiculous joinery style. Mostly outdoor work, but a lot of the materials that they're using for that are these kind of cedar, cypressy kind of materials. And there's a strong delight in that, because I want something that works easily like that, but has a little bit more ruggedness to it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be my dream material.
So yours,
and maybe my dream material is just I need a constant supply of high quality softwoods.
Okay, I got a bunch of Scotch pine to mill.
Okay,
We'll get you some Scotch pine. See what you think.
Sounds sappy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta get the kilts off of it first, though.
Right. And you only get it in like this length because that's in between each whorl section of branches.
Which is, you're not far off on that. Yeah, interesting. So obviously I love to use walnut. That's one of my favorites.
Right.
I find an immense joy in like finding I'm gonna call them like local exotics.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like I find immense joy in like finding, oh hey, this is pear. Like it's a pear tree. Like they don't grow that big, and then there's nowhere for the partridges to sit when you cut it down.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Or like whatever this log I had yesterday, I was told it's hawthorn. Now I don't know that for a fact. I can't find anything on hawthorn, but Phil watched me sweat my butt off for about 20 minutes trying to drive wedges into this log to split it so I could cut it on the bandsaw in the shop.
Yeah.
Like I find like immense joy in that type of material.
Right.
Regardless of how it works. I will say, and
that's true. That's kind of fun. Like having that white fur. It was fun to use, partially how it worked, but also knowing that I'm hardly ever going to find it again.
Exactly. And I think I said a couple of podcasts ago, like I've been really liking cutting oaks on the sawmill. Like there's something about quarter sawing oak on a sawmill that I love.
Yeah.
But the last couple days I have been working with some Spanish cedar.
Okay.
For this humidor, and mainly just kind of gluing it together, resawing it, planing it down for the liners on this humidor and stuff. And this morning when I was doing photos, we were taking some photos of planing it, of jointing two edges so you could glue it together and make wire pieces. God, it just planes freaking beautifully. And it smells so good. Like, it doesn't smell like a traditional cedar, because technically, I don't think it's a cedar. It's not from Spain, and it's not a cedar. It's actually a mahogany, if I remember right. It looks like mahogany. It weighs absolutely nothing, but gosh, it planes like a freaking dream. And it smells like you're walking into like a high-end cigar shop, which is really, really nice. So I really like that. It's kind of buttery. It's kind of fun to work with. It doesn't move hardly at all. And that's one of the reasons why it is prized for humidors, is it can deal with the moisture of a humidor without, going all crazy and cupping and bowing and expanding and contracting a ton. So it just is a sheer joy. So I don't know. It's the flavor of the month with me.
Cool. So speaking of local exotics, are there like any weird trees that you've milled that just aren't sold for lumber or used for lumber typically?
Yes. So this weekend I cut a mulberry. I've turned mulberry. Mulberries grow all over. It's just, it's it's such a weird color. It's like goldeny yellow, like almost neon.
Yeah.
And when I first started cutting it, the guy told me it was walnut, and the bark is very similar to walnut bark. And the ends are brown, like walnut. And I started cutting it. I'm like, damn, this is not walnut. This is like Florida.
Yeah.
It's like school bus yellow. So I've cut
But it's
that.
got a real pronounced grain patterns to it too, right?
It does, yeah. And it's very, like I said, it's very gold. It's just it's a weird wood. Cut a lot of elm. Elm's just not very common anymore.
Yeah.
The eastern red cedar, I cut that quite a bit. And you can buy it like for paneling and stuff. Aromatic cedar, same thing.
Right.
I have not cut any hedge apple, which I would like to. Osage orange, I'd like to cut some hedge apple. I have not found any apple that's been big enough to mill. I guess that's the problem that I have is we don't get many big, exotics around here.
Right.
Yeah.
So
what's the tree that has the big like green bean things on it, like catalpa or something?
Yeah.
Catalpa,
No,
yeah.
I've asked my arborist buddies to tell me if they get a catalpa. It's supposed to be a very nice wood. It's very lightweight though. They use it for framing a lot. So I guess I would say
I've heard that about cottonwood too.
Yeah, cottonwood is the same thing. And I've cut cottonwood. God, cottonwood stinks. It smells so bad when you cut it. I mean, it smells like seriously. It smells like urine almost.
No,
Like I don't know what it is. And that's one thing I was researching this hawthorn a little bit more, and I've heard a lot of people say that hawthorn smells like a decaying body because there's some chemical in it that when it's exposed to oxygen, and it's in the fruit and flowers as well of hawthorn, it they call it the plague tree because it smells like black plague. It releases ammonia, I guess. So
okay,
but yeah, I mean I haven't cut anything super crazy around here. I would love to like buy a log of like ebony and just to do it. I always see these guys from South America and Africa that are exporters of hardwood logs, and they send them to like veneer factories and stuff. And I always was like, oh, that'd be cool, but I don't have big enough pockets for that.
Yeah. Do we get
Speaking
persimmon
of,
around here?
I don't know if we do.
On the edge?
I think we're too far north.
Okay.
Yep, and because technically persimmon is in the same genus as ebony. It's in the ebony genus, so it's very hard too. I've turned to some of it. It's very hard, but we don't get any.
Because I know that I have relatives in southern Missouri, which isn't too far away from here, and they was at their cabin this summer, and there were several persimmon trees.
Yeah. Have you ever had the fruit? I suppose the fruit's really good.
Yeah, my sister-in-law had harvested some from the previous year, but didn't have any left. And when I was down there, it was out of season. So,
sure.
Do you guys have cottonwood trees near your house?
Yes.
Yeah, we have a lot in Ankeny, so I find myself cleaning out the air conditioner or the compressor a lot. So here, if you're listening and you're in the HVAC business, I have a business idea for you. For every air conditioner you sell, you plant a free cottonwood tree in your yard. Boom.
There you
Work
go.
smarter, not
Maintenance
harder.
every year.
Yeah.
Maintenance every year.
So
you're making money.
It's funny because there are like
And carbon offsets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one thing that I think I will cut fairly soon is olive. There's in Las Vegas, there is a very big, not a problem. Las Vegas olive trees grow really well in Las Vegas, so they were planted for a long time as a decorative tree because that's about that mulberry and elm are about the only things that will grow in Las Vegas, and some pines. But they planted so many olive trees that they didn't realize that the pollen was going to become a huge problem. So Cook County, where Las Vegas is, actually banned any planting of olive trees after like 1998 or something like that.
Really?
Yeah, so you cannot legally plant an olive tree in Cook County, in the city of Las Vegas, because it was causing so many issues. And
just
a lot
like
of people
with
hate it.
allergic reactions with people, or
Yeah, it was like causing like severe air quality issues because of the amount of pollen they output. So the next time I'm down there, I'm gonna I think I'll be driving down probably early spring, late winter, and I'm gonna put a Facebook post up and see if anybody has an olive tree they want taken down for free, and load it up in my truck and bring it back up here, because I've turned some of it and it's beautiful to turn it.
Yeah, it finishes really nicely.
Oh god, yeah. So, yep.
Trying to think of other exotics that would be kind of not really exotics, but
I recently asked, so I asked my arborist friends all the time, tell me when they get fruit trees, apple, cherry. I mean, obviously apple and cherry.
Weren't you looking for a ginkgo too?
I just told one last week, like, hey, if you guys get a ginkgo tree, let me know. No reason other than I just want to cut it. You know, all these kids and their Pokemon want to catch them all. I want to cut them all. So
the kids or the trees?
Yes, all. But no, supposedly ginkgo is like very, very similar to basswood. Carves very well. It's soft. It's very light colored. I would like some butternut.
Yeah. Roast out butternut would be kind of fun.
Yep.
Or I know we're a little outside the range of it here, but some of the other like hemlock I think would be cool.
Yeah. Some of the other softwoods. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Cutting some hemlock would be cool. You get down a little further south, like black gum. You get a lot of like black gum trees and stuff like that. But yeah, I have kind of researched it a little bit on getting some logs from the east or west coast, like some actual western red cedars, or you can get Alaskan yellow cedar from Oregon. So I've kind of researched a little bit on what it would take to buy, maybe 10,000 board feet of logs, and probably not ship them here, but maybe put them on a train car or haul them back on a trailer.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of sawmill owners that have done that, just to kind of bring different species to the local markets.
Okay. That'd be cool.
Yeah. I do have a guy that I have a lead on some old, they were, what did Bob tell me they were? Like railroad bridge ties, not ties, but like supports and stuff.
Yeah.
That were big, like 14 by 14, but they were redwood.
Oh, wow.
And somebody salvaged them. And Bob has a sawmill, and he cut a couple for them. And so I've supposedly there's a handful of them still laying on this guy's property. So I've made inquiries to buy them. So we'll see. That would be kind of cool to saw some redwood beams on the sawmill.
Yeah.
But
all right, that's cool.
Yeah. John, what's your dream material of choice?
MDF.
He wants dust-free MDF.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of times where it's just like you use a material they haven't used in a while, or it's like, oh, I remember why this is a nice material, and And even though I do say that I hate walnut because it tastes bad, it is a nice wood to work with. Yeah. So I'll give it that.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay.
That's all I'm conceding. But yeah, I don't know if there's any specific material that's my dream material. So
I will say, after having worked here in our shop and always having a steady supply of Baltic birch plywood, I hate any plywood that is not Baltic birch now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in general, I don't necessarily like to wrestle with big sheets of plywood anyways, but working with Baltic birch is, if they could make like, red oak veneered Baltic birch, that'd be great. Baltic red oak plywood.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Baltic walnut plywood.
Sure.
That'd be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
No, I will agree with you on that, because we had done a project here and we got some just big box 3/4 inch plywood that was, I think all the plies were glued together with poison and cancer.
Yep.
Because every time you cut into it, it just made everybody cough, and
Yeah.
Like that one, you had that one that was in your mouth all the time. It was just, ugh.
Yeah. Well, you did that Moncala board out of lip disc, right?
Oh yeah. Ugh.
And was that that was your sinuses, I guess?
Yeah.
Attacked.
Yep. Because I routed out those pockets in there. And
Yeah.
I mean, normally when you're routing hardwoods like that, you don't really get a ton of dust.
Mm-hmm.
And it's more like shavings kind of, or chips. And this one wasn't. It was dust, and it was just fire in my brain.
Yeah. See, cedar does that to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used Chris's slot mortiser to do these planters at the beginning of summer.
Oh, yeah.
And both my boys and I were outside. I was doing it on the tailgate of my truck, just to keep the dust out of my shop, because there was a lot. There was like 96 mortises. And I got inside, and just everything was like, I was hacking, I was coughing, I was, snot was coming out of every hole on my face, just like, ugh, it was gross.
Was that store-bought cedar or stuff that you'd milled?
The stuff I milled, actually, that would probably be one of the most unique trees I milled. That was a northern white cedar.
Oh,
Yeah, that came from Mitchellville Cemetery.
all right.
So
Interesting.
yeah, it was a cool tree. I like that. I'm using those are the only offcuts that I'm actually storing, because I can take that 2-inch thick, 6-inch wide plank and resaw it into 3/8 inch grilling planks for salmon.
All right.
I think that's an acceptable use of offcuts.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So.
I'll allow it.
Yep. But so, like, seriously though, you guys have any shop buddies of your dreams? As far as, I'm saying, don't be weird about this, John.
That's kind of my thing.
I know it is. Like, if there was, like, is there one person that you would like to, like, do a collaboration project with, or just one person you'd like to hang out in the shop with for a day and build something, or
Just you guys. I mean, just like hanging out with you guys.
He would like to see us do the work instead of him.
Yeah,
Right.
just hang out with you guys and watch you
watch-
work,
yeah.
basically. So, basically, any video days.
John, like where John is on camera, and then we just run around like a crazy person
making all the parts.
making parts
Yeah.
Yeah.
in record time.
Yep. I can stand that. That'd be nice.
All right. Who would
I mean, Phil, I have to think Dave Fisher would be up on top of the list.
yeah,
I mean,
that
just
would be super high up on the list.
yeah, just to do just spend a day in his shop carving with him, like that'd be cool.
Yeah, I think it would be fun because I've done Dave Fisher inspired pieces, and I just feel like I kind of have the concept down, but I feel like there's just something in there that he would know secondhand that just would turn the light on for me on something.
Yep. See, I'm kind of that way with David Marks.
Okay.
Like, and more, maybe more of from a fanboy type standpoint, because when I was growing up is when David Marks was on TV with Woodworks.
Oh, okay.
So, like, I used to watch it, it was, I don't know, it was on Thursday nights, whenever it was on. I never missed the episode for however many seasons he did it.
Yeah.
So, that'd be cool. Like, I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
But
That would be fun. I think, I don't know, there's some people that their style of woodwork just isn't mine, but it would be just fun to pick their brain on some things. Like Michael Fortune.
oh yeah,
He works in a real contemporary vein, but it seems like a day in his shop would be well worth the time.
yep.
Nick Offerman seems like he'd be a fun woodworker to hang out with.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see like what
what
his shop demeanor is like when he's building. Is he the kind of person Like that he's on, like he's Nick Offerman all the time? Or is there public Nick Offerman and shop Nick Offerman? And I don't think there's anything wrong with either of those.
No.
But
No.
Interesting.
Right. Yeah, because when you see him, Nick Offerman, with the switch on, it's like, is he on all the time?
Yeah.
Is that or is it?
Because that feels like that could be much. But,
Yep.
Right. Or is it like quiet Nick Offerman?
Yeah.
Like how I get quiet and just.
Is John mad at me?
Yeah. I hope that's the vibe I'm putting out.
Yeah.
I kind of want to see Chris Fitch's home shop.
Yeah.
There you go.
Although I think you just have to sit in there quietly and listen to him mutter to himself.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Speaking of people like that, you get the vibe is like, he mad at me. That's Chris' vibe. That's Chris.
you should have seen it when I broke the bandsaw yesterday. Ooh.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I got threatened with, we're going to coat that repair to pop wood.
Yeah.
Which bandsaw was it?
It was the big one.
Powermatic?
The big Powermatic. There was a
Yeah.
issue with the switch on it.
Yeah, there's a switch. Powermatics in our shop seem to lose their switches a lot, but we also use them a lot, so...
Just leave him running all the time.
Yeah.
Well,
And then
it
you
got
don't
to a
have to
point
worry
where
about
it started shutting itself off on me, which was really weird. Like, I'd cut something, turn around, say something to Phil, and the saw would just shut off.
Yep. Just coast to a halt.
Like, hey,
Was it power saver mode or
it
something?
might be. it went into
the-
screensaver mode.
Yeah, it was the flying
Yeah.
toasters of, yeah.
You just got to shake the mouse a little bit.
Yeah.
And come back on.
All right. So if you would like to share your dream tool or dream materials, we'd love to hear about it. You can send us an email, woodsmith@woodsmith.com, or leave a comment on our YouTube channel where you can watch the three of us talking to each other, even though we're within 25 feet of each other here in the office. It's meta. Otherwise, thanks for listening. This episode's brought to you by Shaper Tools. They're the makers of the Shaper Origin. That's that handheld CNC router that adds digital precision to your woodworking. You can do joinery, hardware installation, cabinetry, all that kind of stuff with speed and precision. They have a risk-free offer to have it in your shop for 30 days. Go to shapertools.com to learn more. Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you next week for another episode of the Shop Notes Podcast. Bye, everybody.